All right, y'all. So I guess welcome into another session of the Veteran Awareness Workshop. We're just gonna go and round out a couple of things for the month. Basically, going over how this month went, how we went over the month, and how to take care of it. Basically, as veterans, any of the new changes. I'm not feeling as best on the weather, I'll say right now. Um, and then yeah, interesting night last night. Kids throwing up. So yeah, but we'll manage. We'll manage and try to do the best we can with this. Want to give a shout out to Lynn for becoming a member on YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the Veteran Awareness Project. Um, yeah, so we're just gonna try to go over a couple of those things. Trying to go over. Yeah, so we're just gonna try to go over a couple. Has gotta mute this. Just like yeah, interesting, isn't it? Right? But yeah, we'll see. We'll continue to develop this and see how it turns out, basically. Um, but hopefully we get to feeling better. We are a little off today, so keep that in mind. But yeah, the whole purpose of this is basically if you have any questions or anything, we will be covering what the month of November entailed for veterans. Uh, to a degree, basically, we'll be doing that. But then the other part is basically making sure that people understand that um, any questions that you may have, just throw them out. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what the question is, just make sure to give out the question so that people understand and people can get this information, whether it's by you or somebody else. So we'll try to do the best we can in that way. Uh, but there have been a good amount of changes that have taken part lately uh, within this. Let's see. Water my plant too much. All right. So we are going to try to assess basically what has happened this month, this past month. So that's always what we try to do at the beginning of these workshops is basically try to make sure that you are informed of any occurrences that happen. The good thing with technology now is that if you know how to use it, you can set it up so that that way it can pick up this information for you and you don't have to worry about actually searching for it because it'll do the searching for you. You're just making sure to actually verify that the information is correct so that that way it's easier for you to understand what's going on, whether it's VA bills that are being proposed or any of the policies being changed. It can track it because it can search across the board basically like, hey, what changes have come across for policy, because the biggest policy thing and the biggest policy issue has always been and still is basically now I just lost my train of thought. Ain't that some shit? I was gonna think policy and then I started seeing policy discussion on my screen and it threw me off. Oh, the biggest policy, like I was saying, the policy discussion is the changes to mental health, the changes to tinnitus, the changes to sleep apnea. Those are the biggest changes that people are concerned with and have been speaking about. That's the biggest concern going forward. With those, as we have seen, people have been talking about this changing for the past 3 years now. The first discussion came out on, I believe it was March 22nd of 2022, and it's been pushed and pushed forward consistently for the past 3 years and no changes. So That's why I think it's very important for people to understand that it's important how well you document your stuff and how much information you get. If you have that information and you have that documentation, it makes it 10 times easier to do because you have it correct. You have it filled out correctly. You have everything properly documented. You have properly diagnosed. You have a time period of actual diagnosis or a time period of actual thing. Because the thing is, what a lot of vets want to do is like, yeah, they want to get that back pay because they filed their intent to file early and then they wanted to go and get seen and all that stuff. Where if you actually develop a longer chain, it might take more time, which sucks. It does suck. But at the same time, if you have more time basically designating the amount of physical therapy that you've been going to, whether it's outside of the VA that you're paying out of pocket or you have another insurance covering, so that way you show that you have actually been going to be seen for this ailment. It's not just one doctor saw you one time and he just decided that everything is like that. It's a lot easier to get a a nexus letter if you have the time period showing that. If the time period is showing like, hey, from this point forward, here, like, yeah, he's been out of the military for like 20 years, but for the past 2 years he has been complaining about this issue. He's been being seen for this issue. He has MRIs now, he has x-rays and all this stuff for the past year, maybe year and a half, maybe 6 months, depending on how quickly you can get all that information and have a track record showing that you are hurt. The problem is that a lot of people think that, hey, I got 2 months of physical therapy, this is gonna show that I've been fucked up the past 8 years. No, that's not how the shit works. You're not gonna tell me that the past 8 years have been bad, but you've only been seen for the past 2 months. It just makes it very difficult to set a actual timeline showing that this has progressively gotten worse from this. Because then you got to look at it like this also. Where did this person start from? Because if his starting point was this year and it got to this pain level, how did it get from the pain level he's at now to before? That's why that whole gap in time is very important to be covered, or if not covered, mentioned how it happened on this incident in the military, which you have documented. Use that as a reference. A lot of the times people people change how they take care of things. Sometimes it could have been a misdiagnosis, which happens a lot in the fucking military. You served, you understand that a lot of times you went to the PA never diagnosed you with the correct actual information. He just said you had this. 2 week profile. Ibuprofen, water, should be running in no time. And then you got a tear in your hip. Ah, man. Great times though, great times. But those are the parts that most people don't mention, and those are the people that those are the parts that are not mentioned with the veteran stuff. And that's where a lot of veterans need to understand that part, that's needing to be fixed. So we have, even after the government shutdown, so the VA healthcare and benefits kept flowing, but many front end services paused. Regional benefit offices and GI Bill hotline closed, and that was during the thing. So we did deal with some of the shutdown stuff in November, unfortunately. So some of that did take into effect, and it did slow down a couple of payments for schools. It did slow down a couple of things in that area, um, and they're still making changes. So we'll see how that goes. Courts kept moving. On October 23rd, Courts of Appeals for Veterans Claims rejected VA's request to pause most cases during the shutdown. Now, that I found interesting, but that was October. Never mind. That was last month. But I just wanted to touch on that one again, though. The other two was basically we did still do that. But the VA trying to pause the cases is something I did not understand. I was just like, what reason do you have for pausing the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims? What's up, Sagi? I was just like, there's no reason to pause cases, because the thing is you're still handling cases, but a lot of cases it was a lot of backlog. A lot of cases have been stuck in those things, and just a lot of those have been approved or have been denied. Because the thing is it's easy to say that we have completed set amount of claims, but if you just reject them and deny it, that basically closes out that claim until the person appeals it, if they appeal it. Otherwise, it's basically saying that's what it is. So if they're denying a whole bunch of people, then that's going to be showing up as, oh, they completed a whole bunch of stuff, which doesn't necessarily mean they completed it. It's just basically it ended because it's no longer on there. So that's something to keep in mind also. But we did get our hold on, where's it at? Where's it at? Uh yeah, because then I made it a tracker too, so but we got that part right. So that was created. So we have our bills, the bills that have been proposed while, you know. So we had from the Senate, Bill 2392, um, Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act of the Senate. They proposed that. Another bill was the FY 2026 VA Appropriations, Military Construction, Veteran Affairs, and related agencies. That was the Senate. Policy, the VA Electronic Health Record Modernization funding resumed. So this was something that was going on with the because basically during the past administration they put a lot of money into just basically there was a lot of money put through the Biden administration to help the electronic health record modernization funding. Basically, it is something that's to roll out so that the internet is being used better and systems are communicating that usually wouldn't communicate. So some of the information from your medical records would go straight to the VA better. So a better like it's basically developed to be a better streamlined way of getting your records and your information. So it's basically like cutting out a bit of time because now the record should already be there. So it should be developing basically like a file on you. And that's how it should be. I don't know how they're going to incorporate the VA into it, but it should be that while you're in service, everything that you're getting in service, you should already have a record built for the VA through the VA. So simultaneously, like if you're going to the files and stuff like that on in active duty, that shit should automatically be building a file for you at the VA because you're going to become a veteran whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, if you join the military, you're going to be a veteran at one point or another. If it's after one contract, two contracts, a whole 20 years, you're still going to be a veteran regardless. So if you joined and you made it through basic, you still going to be a veteran regardless at one point. No matter how badass you are, no matter how cool you are, now, no matter how fast you run, it don't matter. You're still going to become a veteran regardless. So that's something that they should definitely do is basically make it that anything that goes into your medical record while on active duty should be moved over to your VA file and just an easy transition over. Nothing crazy. Just you go to the doctor here, the information is already there for you on the next location. It's enhancements like that that'll make it easier for veterans to have less issues compared to the ones that are doing now. Because the thing is now, well, people would basically be able to people are still gonna go to the doctor regardless. Some are not. Some are gonna go. Some of them are still gonna go and do it that way and be like, hey, we're gonna tough it out, not get anything documented. But it's different if you have everything notated and being replicated in the VA system once you're going there. Appreciate that, Fungus. Fungus. What a name. Um, but yeah, that would be something that would basically benefit a lot of service members, and it would alleviate a lot of the problems that we had with previous generations where a lot of the documentation wasn't there. A lot of the documentation was paperwork. If a lot of your paperwork got burned up in that fire, got burned up in that fire. Um, a lot of information is there for veterans to use, but you have to have it notated, and having it notated when you first come in and continuing that allows you to basically create a file for you with the VA. So once you get out, it's not going to be a question of like, what did he do, what does he have to do? It's just like, okay, this is what it is. Hold on, it says, we'll see. um all right, so what else do we have? We have the hearing maximizing success after service for veterans. This was the hearing that took place on November 6th, I believe. And this was the hearing where they were talking about relooking at the whole compensation thing, where basically they believe you should be given incentives to get better, to get paid, kinda, of basically. So you are incentivizing people to be. I'm not sure exactly, because if you have mental health issues that don't allow you to interact with people as well, how is that going to allow you to get a job anyway? How can you get better from that? It's just like they're trying to change it but trying to minimize what people get. Um and that's the other thing. Going back and circling back to that policy like I was talking about. Everybody's talking about the mental health changes, the sleep apnea changes, the tinnitus changes. Those changes are going to be coming down the pipeline probably within the next year or two. They still haven't clarified. They still haven't made the final mentions. So we'll keep it at that. But that's something that has made people go ahead of what they've been doing, and they've been filing that stuff. Uh, if you're watching here on TikTok, I'm also on YouTube. Make sure to follow me. Link is in the bio. You can follow me and subscribe there. I'm 4K. I'm not really showing anything on the screen. We're just chatting for most of it. And just people having questions. We've been working behind the scenes on the stuff. We have updated our website. If you haven't seen, check out the website. We've made some changes to it. The VA forms is in a listed view in numerical order. So as I keep on grabbing out new VA forms, I'll just be adding them on there. So you'll be able to find anything that you need on there. Because when you go to the va.gov, there's no there's the VA form directory on the .gov, but you have to know what you're searching for, which kind of defeats the purpose. It kind of makes it feel like you're trying to gatekeep benefits or something. Or just like it should be a directory that tells you, hey, these are all the VA benefit forms that fall under whatever category, and you should just be able to click on it and view it that way. That would make things a lot easier, and that's probably how it should be done, but I'm not gonna say that's how it's gonna work. So we'll just leave it as is, right? But that's something to pay attention to. Yo, what up, Vegas? But yeah, like I said, if any questions or anything, always never hesitate to ask. Um, And then the policy discussion was the VA proposed rating schedule changes. That was something that was basically, spoken on also. And that was part of the yo, Mango, what's up? Um it's it's interesting because there's a lot of changes being proposed for veterans right now. I heard it was like they were saying a bunch of the stuff, and it was just like hearing Collins is just like I've been tired, man. Been tired, man. It's been a tiring time, I'll say. Been tired, been tired. Kid's been sick, but I'm alright. I'm alright. Well, I'm not alright. You can see I'm not alright, but gotta do our monthly stream for veterans. We'll be doing that, but this past month we've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which is good. Making more of an outline for our stuff to do, so that veterans are more they get more videos. This it's been a couple of these past 2 months and this past month and the rest of this month has been basically a lot of preparation, I guess you can say, to develop the business more because I don't have school anymore, so that took away a lot of time when it came to taking care of my schoolwork. Um, so now it's like I took this time off. Now I have this dedicated time to be able to invest time into content creation, so that it's creating videos, it's creating tutorials, creating seminars, creating still doing the political talk though, still having TikTok and doing political talks, and still working on making sure that we get this country in the right direction. That's still gonna happen. Um, ooh, excuse me. But it's gonna be more of a schedule basically. So we'll have our veteran talks. We'll always have these every first of the Sunday. We are going to have our my secondary page, which is the Just Cruise on, or the Cruise Talks. That'll be the secondary page. That is going to be for the talks on TikTok, YouTube. Um, Trying to see where else I can stream to that my computer would allow, so I can try to do three different things, because it might do it off the phone for here, so it's not on my computer dealing with it. Um, so it makes it easier that way. Uh, Question from Washington Engineer 3632. Happy Sunday to you too. Um, any thoughts on personal statements? Personal statements are very important for your claim. So you have to understand that a personal statement is basically you're building that picture for yourself, explaining to somebody else who has no idea who the fuck you are what you went through, how it happened, how it's been affecting you, how it doesn't affect you. That personal statement is assisting you in creating a better picture of what's going on with you. So I always find those to be important, because the thing is I like to bring Annette, and Annette is a member on the YouTube channel. She basically did a job. The job she did wasn't the same as the job it is now. So during the time periods, the job has changed. So I just basically told her, with a personal statement, you need to explain what your job was doing prior. Because this person is probably seeing your job and thinking, oh, they're doing this job now. but in my time reference. Because most of these people, if it's a Vietnam vet or a Korean War vet, even a Desert Storm vet, most of the people that are working these VA claims are not in that area. So that's something you gotta like pay mind to. But it's always necessary to have a personal statement because you can just be making something that can be, because sometimes you can't describe the stuff when you're talking. So when you try to explain it, you can't do it, but sometimes you can write it out. Sometimes it works the opposite way. But you writing out how it affects you, how it does that, it allows you to not freeze. Yo, what's up, JC? It allows you to not freeze and go into trying to remember stuff that already happened. You're basically using a personal statement to remember for yourself. Because then that document is there. Because you can be at that CMP exam and you could be talking about all other sorts of stuff and you can just literally forget. Or you're just like, oh no, this is what was bothering me with this. But you got into a conversation with something else. You just lost track of at the CMP exam. Because it does happen. Because sometimes you just bullshitting with the people and just talking and you can forget to say certain things. I was just like, yeah, I do have this, but this does bother me here in this manner, kind of thing. Like, I have shoulder injury, I have a hip injury. I know that when I'm doing this with my hip, it causes this to hurt more or it aggravates it more in a way. Because most of the time, they will ask you to explain how does it aggravate you? How does it, what makes it feel better? What makes it feel worse? If you're doing that, but if you have that in the statement, you have it written how it affects you. Because when you say it, you're probably just going to say one thing and then be like, oh, it affects me this way. Whereas in the personal statement, you can point out specific examples multiple times stating, oh, it affected me when I try to cut the grass. It affected me when I tried to um put my kid in the car. You know, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that's causing the issue, you can put that, but now you got multiple things that in case you forget at your CMP exam, it's there. So personal statements I always think are beneficial. I just don't think people don't use them enough because they don't go, you're supposed to go more in detail with that personal statement. It's the same way like if you do the PTSD questionnaire, you have to put, which sucks. You have to go through those moments and you have to put them in there and you have to write them down and you have to basically state what happened through them. So once you're doing that, that is a deeper explanation of why you have that PTSD as compared to you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't got PTSD, you don't got PTSD. But if you do got PTSD, you have to basically put that information and make sure that it's in there. So that information has to be notated, has to show up, has to be populated. So you have to have that there, which is the problem with most people, that they don't have a lot of that documented. Cat hairs, cat everywhere. Um, but yeah, that's that's the thing. The importance of a personal statement. At least that's my way of seeing it. You got to put it in there. Most people don't believe in it. Do it. I was like, there's nothing. It doesn't hurt to provide more information. Nah, it's nah. Wash. Don't. You don't gotta apologize. That's what we do on this stream here. That's what we always do. Um, this is basically a veteran awareness page. If you got questions, you just ask, and we just make sure to get you an answer, or we make sure to point you in the right direction. That's all. That's all it's about. Doesn't matter where the like. Most of the time, I will have a class on a specific thing that I'm doing, but when I'm having these, that is just conversations, and it's it's a free for all basically. You got questions, just shoot them out. I don't. There's no. You have to stay on topic kind of thing here. Because even when I'm doing classes and stuff with the other ones, with the actual PowerPoints and stuff like that, or slides or whatever it is, you'll see that, and I'll just show that to you so you can see exactly what I'm telling you, and I'll help you visualize it. On TikTok, it's not easy to do because TikTok Studio doesn't like to work with me as much, but YouTube is always my best reference. And that way, it's just people need to understand that if you tune in, you're gonna come in and it's just you can ask whatever questions you got. This is my knowledge that I have, pushing it out to whoever needs it, and then it's basically whatever knowledge people have and obtain, they can push it out too, because that's how it is here. The people that have been tuning in and the people that show up, they're usually very knowledgeable when it comes to VA stuff also. So since they're knowledgeable in VA stuff, they'll go and they'll shit, they've corrected me at times for stuff I didn't know, and then they filled in on information that most people don't know, just so that they can get that also. So it's a nice little community we have here, and it's just helping out veterans. There's no charge here. That's the whole point to it. This is something that's free information that people should know, and it's just a benefit to do it. I actually got my hoodie on. Most of the times I don't actually have it on. Well, it's cold now. Sup, South. Um, but yeah, that's what it is with these changes and all that stuff. That's what it is. So if you got questions, just ask. Because the thing is a question not asked here is a question that another veteran probably had that they would want to ask also, but they just didn't because they didn't know how to put it together. You're taking time. This whole process has tested my patient's insanity. I'm on my first and hopefully last round of supplementals. Okay. It I'll say this, Watch. The thing is with disability claims, you have to have the patience. I was like it like I tell people, the funniest part I find about a lot of us veterans is that the whole hurry up and wait shit just disappears. Once you're out, that whole hurry up and wait shit for us is like non-existent. We don't believe in it anymore. It was like we used to hurry up and wait for the dumbest fucking shit. But here we are. We can't hurry up and wait to make sure our documentation and all our stuff is good to actually be good. That's where it's funny to me. We've been hurrying. That's always the funniest part to me. Always has been the funniest part to me. It was like you can hurry up and wait for the dumbest shit while you serving, but when it comes to hurry up and just waiting to make sure your documentation is straight, make sure you got your diagnosis, your MRI, your X-ray, whatever the case may be, it was just like, nope, we got to try to speed this up as much as possible. And then that's what fucks up a lot of people. A lot of people, a lot of people don't. That's one of the craziest things about it right there. One of the craziest things about it. Everybody was hurry up and wait in the military, but then once they get out, that shit goes out the window. And that's what it does to a lot of veterans. When it comes to filing their disability claims, it's difficult to file a disability claim if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it's difficult to file a disability claim because you don't know what you can and cannot file. You don't know exactly what it is that you're putting onto the file. And that's where a lot of veterans fuck up, and that's where a lot of veterans get denials because they didn't claim the thing properly. Because the thing is like if you file back pain, if you don't know no better, you're gonna put that you have back pain. But if you don't know about the Code of Federal Regulations and but you got back pain, you're gonna put back pain on the disability claim. Now, what most of us vets don't know or service members is just like there's the cervical and then the lumbar. Which part of your back hurts? The top part or the bottom part of your back? If you didn't specify that, now they have to figure it out. So you saying it's your back, That's not very specific. You got to put where it is that it was. So, oh, that's around my neck. Oh, so it's a cervical neck injury. I got to claim it as a cervical neck injury. I have to be more specific when I'm doing that. Thank you, Busy. Said I love when you talk politics and the like, but I really love how you help veterans. I was just like, that's what I do. It's just what it is. You got to help people out, but that's the biggest thing. People don't identify those things when it comes to filing those disability claims. Any experience with aggravated pest plainness claims? Um, Hold on. Let's go to the CFR. Do you know the code for that one, or what does it fall under? So I hate searching on this. Let's see, one matching result. Why did it just come up with the bilateral factor? Use the terms. When a partial disability. Okay, let's go to this because this is what I popped up when I put pest planer. $52.76. So you could go table of contents and go to the numerical index, and you said it was 52.76. Flat foot. See, so that's the thing with flat feet, you could only get a certain amount depending on how much it's fucking you up. Excuse the language. I'm trying to get better with the cursing. $52. I'm very forgetful. Come on now. $52.76. Flatfoot. Pronounced marked pronation, extreme tenderness of plantar surfaces of the feet, marked inward displacement, and severe spasm of the tendo Achilles on manipulation. Not improved by orthopedic shoes or appliances. So the highest you can get, depending on if it's both feet, is 50%. If it is one foot, 30%, depending on how it is. And that's if it's severe. Well, no, that's if it's pronounced. If it's severe, meaning objective evidence of marked deformity, pronation, abduction, etc., pain on manipulation and use, accentuated indication of swelling on use, characteristics, callosities, callosities, ties, or whatever, however you say it, my bad. Bilateral, unilateral. If it's both legs, 30. If it's unilateral, 20. If it's moderate, which is weight bearing line over a medial to great toe, inward bowing of the tendo Achilles, pain on manipulation, and use of the feet, bilateral or unilateral, it is 0. So basically, when you're doing these claims, you basically have to show that that's what it is. So if you're doing it for just one foot that you have flat feet, which most of the time both people have both feet, but sometimes one is more to a worse degree than the other sometimes when you're flat footed. So the bilateral is basically saying that one of them is worse. You can have one that's worse and then the other one is still there, but depending on how bad it is. If it's pronounced, 50%. If it's severe, 30%. If it's moderate, 10%. If it's mild, you get 0. And that's the so if you do have flat feet, that's what you have to do, but you have to show that. And it has to be notated. Once it's notated, depending on how it is, that's what it is. But as it says, with pronounced, it means that you've already gone the orthopedic shoes or appliances route. Because it basically says not improved by orthopedic shoes or appliances. So for it to be pronounced, it basically means that even you've already gone through the process of using orthopedic shoes or appliances to try to fix this issue, and it has not worked. And that's when how you would get a higher rating on that. Because it's basically saying that you've gone through, because whichever other one you get, they're going to put you on orthopedic shoes or they're going to put you on inserts. So that's what you got to do, because then the other option they're going to try to do is they might try to offer you surgery. But that'll be once you get seen for it through the VA, because they're going to want to see you through the VA, and then they're going to try to get you into it because they got it because it's caused by that. Then they might try to offer you some surgery down the road, like, hey, we could try to fix this because shoes ain't fixing it. So, but that's how you do. Yeah, and you definitely don't. I wouldn't want to do surgery. I didn't want to do surgery for anything. Um, but that's something to keep in mind. But that's all has to be documented. It's basically documented that you've gone the orthopedic shoes route, you've done the appliances, it does not work, is that pronounced, and you have to have that documented stating that. If you have it stated that way, then it's easy to do. If you don't have it stated that way, it makes it difficult for you to get that answer and for it to be a thorough enough claim to basically just push through. Yeah, because that's what it is. It's because that this is the part where a lot of people don't understand that it's just like the CFR does this for you. The Code of Federal Regulation gives you this information. It explains to you what it is. So the thing is like I said, you still have to have the documentation for all this stuff, but it has to be shown in that manner. You have to show like, hey, I have flat feet, but I have to show whether it's pronounced, severe, moderate, or mild. If you just have mild symptoms, that's 0%. If you have moderate symptoms, that's 10%. If you have severe, then that's when you can get to 30 to 20. And 30% is if it's both feet. 10% is if it's only one foot. And then you have pronounced that if it's both feet, 50 thing. But then it basically tells you how you get those things. So that's why it's like, it's definitely important for people to understand that when you are reading that, you have to, how could you put it? You have to do the basically the legwork of checking where you fall on that rating. It was just like, hey, if it's an increase, that means you're already service connected. So if it's an increase, is you basically showing that it has worsened. So literally, if you went from you had moderate that it was 10, now it's severe, you had to get inserts or whatever the case may be and stuff like that. You can add that on that and you can claim that. Shit, me, I got put on fucking inserts by the VA. And that's not even in the claim. I'm already 100% P&T. So she was like, you already 100% P&T, but here's inserts because you have flat feet. I was like, I've been in the military for how damn long? I was in there for 10 damn years. I came in without flat feet, ended up with flat feet. They probably didn't buy enough boots. Inserts, that's what the product was. The boots. Nah, I had new boots all the time. I'm just uncomfortable and stuff. Whatever. But yeah, it's knowing what you have. If the easiest thing for veterans to do is once they have something, if they can prove that it was rated too low, because if it's service connected, you're service connected. But if you can prove by your appeal that it was rated too low, that gives you the opportunity to get a higher percentage because they may have rated you wrong. But that's also on the documentation you have. Like I said, that would have to be stated for flat feet, and that's for anything. Plantar fasciitis, same shit. Everything goes and approaches it the same way. Every issue you have to notate. Everything that you have to make sure that you're observing. You got to observe everything that you've gone through. Because the thing is you have to see if when you got rated the way you did, if you got rated correctly or you got diagnosed correctly. Because a lot of the times you can go through your medical record and you can have an injury of a sort, and in your medical record it does not populate or was not put in as that injury that you stated it was. They just said you got hurt, but they never put how you got hurt or where you got hurt. It's just like, oh, you got knee pain, injury while on PT, but you specified how you did it. They don't put the specifics. They just said you did some sort of PT, you fucked up your knee. Boom, here's a profile, ibuprofen, water, stay off of it for like a week and a half and then start running again. Sound familiar? And that's what they do. I was just like, but you want to avoid that. Get your shit taken care of. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be your knee that's fucked up, not theirs. The army's knee, the army's knee has never fucked up. I never seen the army at fucking sick call. They just pay that shit off. Buy another one. But that's it. That's what it is. All right, so let me see. So this is a summary that I was gonna put. This month brought significant wins and developments for veterans. This is just the chat GPT searching for the stuff and summarizing it. I usually go over this stuff and delete 95% of it because it does a good summary, but it sounds like too robotic, and I don't sound robotic. Definitely don't sound robotic, so definitely we'll do that. But let's see what it says. Locking in inflation proof increases for disability and survivor benefits as of December 1st. So they did do that so that gets inflation proof increase. It's the same thing, just making sure that they get those increases without anything. It's a good thing. A major win under current economic pressures because it basically says that all those older disability and survivor benefits, because a lot of people don't understand that survivor benefits are basically indemnity compensation payments, which is basically you being a surviving spouse or surviving dependent. What basically happens is they don't continue to receive the 100% disability rating, but they do get something paid to them. I forget the actual numbers. Um, oh yeah, I've had this on the thing the whole time, basically, when I changed it. And this is what it is. These are the bills and stuff like that. So y'all can see it yourselves on YouTube. Um, but yeah, that's what it is. It does that and it has that information for you. So you can just find that. Meanwhile, the VA appropriations bill preserves Second Amendment protections for veterans under fiduciary oversight. So running out of steam. What? So we have. So the biggest issue that was that a lot of the times there are certain veterans that cannot take care of themselves. Um, So they get a fiduciary basically in charge of handling their money and stuff like that. What that bill basically does is it allows them to still have weapons. I just work here, yo. So it allows them to still be able to have weapons, um, just as somebody else is managing their money, basically. But they should still have the ability to own a weapon, which I do agree with. If they are not a harm to themselves or anybody else, I definitely do agree that they should have a right to own the weapon. Now, the only difference and the only thing I have against that is if they got put on a fiduciary because of the fact that they couldn't like control themselves and their fucking actions, then yeah, I do agree they shouldn't have that weapon. Plain and simple. If you got put to the point that somebody had to take care of you, is basically watching over your money situation, depending on what the reason is, that should determine if you are able to own the weapon or not. If it's just because somebody's managing your money, you should be able to have a weapon because you're not a threat to. But if it was just like you got that way because you were like a threat to yourself, threat to somebody else, then no, then yes, absolutely not. You should not have a damn thing. Makes it easier for you to think, oh, you know what, maybe I should do this shit. Kind of, you know what I'm saying? Not what we're trying to do here. Um, but yeah, that's a big win. That's always a big win. Let's see. And then we have, what does it say? Meanwhile, the VA appropriations bill, yeah, we did that. On the oversight front, the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee convened a hearing to spotlight veteran reintegration, reintegration, career and education support. But caution remains proposed 2025 rating change reforms, particularly for sleep apnea and tinnitus, could deeply impact disability payment. So veterans should stay informed and consider filing claims now. And that's the part where I don't agree with, where it says veterans should consider claiming files now. What's up, Quiet Storm? Um, but that's the thing. Veterans should not be filing their claims now. What they should be doing is that they should be putting them together properly before you file the claim. If you know, you can file the claim as in you can put in your intent to file. Put your intent to file in, but make sure that within that year, less than that year, you should be done within 6 months of doing that intent to file. You have proper documentation for more than 6 months of shit to basically show what you're filing a claim for. Don't just go and don't just go and file your disability claim because you think, oh, things are gonna change. These people have been talking about, and that's what pisses me off because it just gaslights veterans into. Because the thing is these people know that veterans are gonna file and they're gonna get denied and they're gonna keep it moving and they ain't gonna keep going again. They're not gonna appeal. They're not gonna bother to educate themselves. Oh well, I got 50%. I'm good with 50%. That's how most of these veterans are. But this whole rating change for sleep apnea has been spoken about since fucking 2022. Talk about you should file now because they're going to change it. File now. For the past 3 years, veterans have been filing now, not knowing how the fuck to file. And that's why this shit is taking so fucking long. They ain't know how to file. Look, fucking the pack that came out, these people didn't fucking know. They just know, hey, bro, I served in fucking Iraq. I stirred some shit. Claim. Didn't do no paperwork, didn't do no research or nothing. Because most of the people you ask sometimes don't even know what the code of the federal regulation is. Most of the time, they don't even know what the code of federal regulation is. So if you don't know what the code of federal regulation is, how did you basically think you know what you were doing while you were filing? How did you think that you were going to be successful without knowing what the regulation was? It's the same way like you went, and that's the other one that I find always funny. It was like when people are in the military, they knew what the fucking regulation was. They ain't stop what the regulation meant. If you was a dude in the military, you had a shaving profile, you made sure you extended how much you can use that profile. The same way when you cut your hair, you would explain it and be like, well, this haircut is fucking lightly cut or whatever the case, and boom, this is the reason why I got this haircut and my haircut's in regulation. But then somehow another thing, once you become a veteran, you completely forget what regulation is. Everybody know what UCMJ is, but no veteran knows what the fucking Code of Federal Regulation is. Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4. Nobody knows what the scheduler rating is. So none of y'all know what the scheduler rating is, and without knowing what the scheduler rating is, y'all thought y'all were going to be successful in filing your disability claim. Now, how does that sound? How does that sound? It don't sound like it makes sense, do it? It really don't. And that's the whole point of it. You have to make sure that your stuff is done correctly. If it's not done correctly, you're not going to be successful no matter what. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you're saying. So, but yeah, that's mostly it. Damn, screen got super bright. Um, but yeah, that's mostly it for the thing. I was like the workshops. Like I said, the workshops will be better next year, which is in a month. On our next one, we're gonna be doing that a lot more. We'll be doing our Sunday workshops. They will be part of a series that we've been working on. And that's what the workshops are going to be on. So it's going to be a series that the videos will be coming out on YouTube. We also just updated our VA disability pay. But I just wanted to say this because I want this recorded and I want this there. Appreciate that, house. So every single time I've done so on YouTube, I've done my disability pay video for the past going on 3 years now. So for 3 years I've been doing that video. The problem that I have, hold on, what? So yeah, I've been doing that disability pay rates video on YouTube for the past 3 years. And I've noticed that each time I took a snapshot of it this time because it's just like the numbers always seem funny to me. Because the thing is I always make my first video, which basically says, hey, we've gotten a 2.8, let's say, percent increase, right? That's what they're saying we're going to get. So when they do that, I'm just like, okay, 2.8% increase. I just multiply the previous number by 2.8. And that's how I get the figures and that's how I make the video. But then when the actual numbers come out, it's just like, it's weird to me because some of them seem lower than what the thing is. So for this year, I took a snapshot of, because I made the video, on the 5th? I took a snapshot of what the va.gov site had for the things, because a couple of the years I've had it, that video came back and people were putting comments and like, oh, this number's wrong, your numbers are wrong. And I would check it and I was just like, these numbers are wrong. And I was just like, hold up. And then I would go to the VA site and then the VA numbers were wrong. Well, the VA numbers were different than what I had. Or it now became, well, no, they were basically the same numbers. But basically what I had gotten out of them before had changed afterwards. So it's just like they push out the numbers, but then after a month or two, they decide to actually put the right numbers. Because most of the time, if you notice how it goes now, it'll be like you're getting paid $530 with 47 cents. And then the next one is with 47 cents. And then the next one is with 47 cents. So it doesn't just add to it. It's just it was just weird. So it's just like they just either round the number that they add to. I just would like to know what the calculation is. It's how they do it. and how they add the percentage, because the numbers just don't add up most of the time. If you multiply them by 2.8, but that's the thing, 2.8 can also mean 2.75, 2.76, 2.77, you know, if they're rounding up. So it's just like those numbers don't change. So they never give you the specific number that is changing. They just round it to the first digit and the next two decimals to just give you a number. And then once you get that, you go off of that. But then the numbers don't coincide. So I just made sure to take a snapshot of it in case it changes, so that way I could be like, look, these are the pictures I took when they updated it on December 5th, showing these numbers, and these are the numbers that are now here. So it's just like they sliding us. I don't know, making shit up now, but it's just interesting to see that. I've seen that the numbers have been different. So it's just like, how do we get different numbers if it's the same information? It's just that the information is then changed afterwards. So that makes sense. Hi, my man. But yeah, that's all it is. This stream was basically, this was the end of the year. We're just gonna try to pick up a bunch of the stuff that we've been doing, um, which we've already gotten a start on. I think it's good for towards the end of the year for people to just evaluate what they're going through, make goals. Don't wait till don't wait for the goals to be made in a rush. Cause you know everybody's gonna start their new year, new me shit soon. So with this whole new year, new me shit, just like make some goals. If it's for veterans, your goal is to file a disability claim for this injury you got. That could be the goal for the year. Make sure you start planning for it now. Like, hey, what do I need to do? Do I need to go get x-rays? Do I need to make appointments for this? Do I need to make appointments for that? And just start doing them like that. Set everything up. Because that's what I've been doing the past month, and the rest of this month is just basically solidifying the foundation, making sure I got everything I need, everything is being placed how it's supposed to be placed, and then doing it that way. And then building from there so that everything is off of the foundation of all the shit I've learned and know, and then just continue to build from there. Um, and a lot has to do with the business. So we'll be we'll be on and live. We will be on and live. We will be doing this. See, look, career goal, get a new job and try to double your pay. Anything that's like that, this is when you should be planning for it. Not in January when the new year already hit. Take the rest of this month to plan what you want to be successful at, what you want to learn, what you want to do, and build out a successful timeline of you being able to do it through the next 12 months. So that way you give yourself the ability to do that. You give yourself the ability to put everything together. How can I make this happen? And that's what I've basically done. This is my plan for the business. This is the plan for YouTube. This is the plan for Twitch. This is the plan for TikTok. This is the plan for um maybe being an Amazon affiliate. Even though that one hurts because I don't want them to make more money. But hey, if y'all buying shit off of there and I make money, it was just like y'all ain't giving it to me. Y'all buying shit anyway. Might as well use those links. Um, yeah, there's all those goals. Set those goals. Start putting the shit down. Take some time and analyze what you've done this year, what you've been successful at, what's been hurting you more, what you need to go get seen for, what all these things are. Do all that, document it now, and then by the time you get to December 31st, you have a list of everything you plan to do and you execute that shit at the fucking this following year. That's it. Execute that for the year. Or maybe that, hey, you can do it that, hey, once you knock out one of those things that you put as a goal, you can add another one to the list. Make a running fucking list. And it works good for veterans too. You got a list of all the shit. Every time you get hurt, every time you get a migraine, every time you had to stop, every time you had any issue, notate it. Same way with life. Just notate it. Have a diary. If you want, just record the shit the whole time. Question is, what do you think is better to go to, community care or the VA? Now, that's a very loaded question due to the fact that community care, the emphasis for community care was the ability that people would be able to get the same thing. The thing is just because it's community care doesn't mean it's better care. Same way, just because it's the VA doesn't mean it's better care. You still have to go to the doctor and see what's a better doctor. Still have to see how their facilities are. You still have to see all of that. Um, Community care gives you the ability to be home closer without you having to travel. It's basically like, hey, I know your closest VA is an hour and a half. We don't want you to drive an hour and a half because we know you have a place down the street or something that can take care of you. The thing is that most people don't realize not everything in community care, that doesn't mean everybody's available. It's the same way you have your in-network and out-of-network doctors if you have health insurance. You have the doctors that are in-network, which are the ones that you can see and the ones you can go get assistance from. And then there's the ones that are out-of-network where they'll be like, hey, we're only going to pay this amount. Anything after that, you're paying out of pocket. It's the same thing with the VA. They have VA provided and networked contracts, but they don't have them with everybody. So the thing is you might think community care is like for everybody. It's just like the VA has its doctors. The thing is a lot of those doctors don't have any continuity because they don't get paid enough. Unfortunately, if you the doctors and you taking care of all these vets, you should probably be getting paid a lot. But they get paid more if they leave and do their own thing. So a lot of these doctors, they'll get out and then they'll work their own thing and then they make a contract with the VA. And that's how they get on there. But not everybody's on there. So community care, it is a good thing. Having community care is a great thing. That is a big positive. But the thing is people need to understand that it's not that you just get everything. You don't get to just pick everybody. You only get to pick the people that are within the network of the VA network afterwards. Because there's a bunch of chiropractors. I got tons of chiropractors where I'm at, but there's only like out of like the 10 that there's available in the town, only 3 of them work with the VA. The other, I was just like, oh, do y'all work with? No, oh, we don't have a contract with them. We don't have. They don't have the paperwork or whatever the case. I can't remember what it was they said, but in that instance, it's basically like, oh, you don't have that. Okay, so we can't use this person because it could be like like I said, it could be a building that's like 2 doors down for you to get your health care. But that doctor may not be in network. So if that doctor's not in network, you're not going to be able to do that. The VA is going to have its doctors there. The reason is that if the VA doesn't have enough doctors, if you got one doctor and you got 100 something plus things, like, yeah, you can see a bunch of these people a bunch of the time, but it's still a time period. And then if that doctor Monday through Friday seeing these people, depending on how long, like, you know what I'm saying? It depends on how it is. But either one is still good as long as we're getting people, as long as the people that are in community care are being vetted correctly and are top-notch doctors and they've had ratings before they started working with the thing is that'd be great. The same thing if the VA just made sure to pay their doctors too. and give them that backup. Because the thing is when you start swapping, there's people that's crazy. So that's what you gotta pay attention to. Community care and the VA, the both are there to assist you. They're both there to try to help you. Now, depending on who you have, depending on where you are, experiences may vary. Same way when you join the military, experiences may vary. It's the same thing. So that's what you got to pay attention to there. But yeah, we're gonna we'll end this one. Clean these glasses. Take some allergy pills too. Um, but yeah, we're gonna leave it at this. So this will be a short one to end the year. Um, for everybody, as always, be good to one another, take care of one another, look out for one another, love one another, and stay marvelous while doing it. For all you vets out there, we won't do another live till first week of January. Might be second week of January. We'll make an announcement if anything. Um, I'll be doing live, so if you need to check in, check in. Um, just to check in. Nothing special, just check in. Um, Holidays, I know it's a tough time, so if you need to hang out or whatever, I'll be gaming. Play Apex. I started Battlefield. Um, I'm about to get Arc Raiders. We're gonna be gaming some, so it'll be a good way of people to just hang out and game that way. Um, and then we'll still have our talks. So we're still gonna do the veteran stuff. Veteran stuff is first Sunday of the month, sometimes second, depending on what it is. If there's any cancellations, I always let it know. Um, Videos are gonna be produced, and we'll keep doing that. Um, so you chose a bad week to take a break from TikTok. um, but then basically that's that whole purpose of it. There is going to be, we're going to do our workshops every first Sunday. We will have pop-up streams that we will put into the notifications on YouTube so that people can visualize, so it'll be planned out ahead, because a lot of the times I just like pop up and it's random, so it makes it difficult for people to get a time base. Same thing with TikTok. When we're live, we're going to be going on live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, depending. Sometimes we may be on Twitch also. um but we're going to be gaming, we're going to be talking politics, we're going to be talking veteran stuff, so we'll be doing that a lot more. It's not going to be the same continuous stuff every single day, so every single day we'll try to do something different. But we'll try to have a schedule out so people have a better understanding of it. Or it might just be some like late night gaming sessions, because I know people don't sleep, so but we'll see. And that was about it. That's it. But I appreciate y'all. I will be cutting it out for the veterans live. Appreciate y'all watch. Thank you for tuning in. Um, as always, link is in the description. The videos are out for 2026 salary pay. Um, that's about it. We didn't have much to do. Under the weather, but like I said, everyone have a good Christmas, a good New Year's. Um, Hopefully, y'all were able to get information out of this, and hopefully, it was beneficial. Everybody, TikTok, y'all be seeing me again. But for the veterans chat, till next month. Appreciate y'all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves during this holiday season. Reach out to people if y'all need to. Um, Leave messages, leave comments on the videos. Engage. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just leave some engagement, so that way we know you out there. We know you out there. Uh, but besides that, I ain't got much else. I'm gonna continue to spend time with the family, which is why I've been gone this whole time. Um, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll do it that way. So yeah, I'll holler at y'all. All right, y'all be good. Okay, so I got rid of that one. So